This is the Bears Barroom Radio Network. The following program is recorded live and intended for all audiences.
Radio is scripted now. We just come up with it. We don't use computers. We don't rehearse. We're going to talk about this next. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Bulls. And then we're going to have Brad Bigson. And then we're going to have all this. No. If you don't know what you're going to talk about in the top of your head before a show, you shouldn't be in the business. I don't know what you got. I feel like Vince Vaughn in a couple's retreat. The Sharks are circling. Old school, baby.
You're listening to the Mike North Advantage, and it begins right now.
That's right. The Mike North Advantage starts right now. I am Aldo Gandio, Mike's wingman, and we've got another very special show for you today, Wednesday, January 27th, Hump Day. We're going to talk about baseball's Hall of Fame. What's going on there? They can't find an inductee. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl, of course. Is Tom Brady really the greatest of all time? We'll get Mike's opinions on that. We're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers. Is he going? Is he staying? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Chicago Bulls. We'll talk about Mike's picks or pick. We'll see what he's got in store for us. We've got that and a lot more. Let me welcome Mike in now. Mike North, how are you, my friend?
I'm feeling good, Aldo. I got to be honest with you. This is like a dream come true. I mean, you know what? It's beautiful. You see me, I see you. You know, I dropped a few pounds after seeing last week I looked a little bit like Charles Lawton in the Hunchback of Notre Dame. The face was crooked. There was one eye going out here, one eye going out there. Got the hair combed a little bit better. Early Bobby Rydell, 57, wild one. If you don't know him, folks, look him up. I'm tired of hearing that kids don't know history. But anyway, just look it up. I'm your teacher. I'm your professor in Elmore today because had a fantastic week. I mean, all over the dial, except here. Here I went 0-1 with I went hockey. Is this the experimental lab? In past, it's been the lab that has won. This year, I'm 1 under 500, but I got a big board tonight for the NBA for everybody. We're going to pick NBA to Super Bowls in a couple weeks. As far as AM 1000, 8-0 my last 3 weeks. My Twitter picks have been on fire, 3-0 last night. Make sure you go to North to North or check it out because I tag Bears Barroom or Aldo quite a bit. And it's just been a dream season. Even on this show, we've had a lot of fun. We're like 500 on the picks, but the picks are secondary. It's all the nonsense I've been hearing. You know, there's so much talk show fodder now because basically the NFL's turned into what the NBA had turned into a couple, 2-3 years ago. It's now a soap opera during the offseason. Pity me. I didn't win. I want to leave. Everybody wants to leave now. And all these teams with these big-time contracts want to get out of them.
Yeah.
So the guys that did not perform under those contracts for whatever reason, and every time there's a quarterback up, Bear fans go, I like that. I want him. I want Stafford. You know, he was 2-5 against us. Please. Let's start. I mean, this is hilarious. It's great stuff. So it's a fun time. We're here to dissect the ridiculousness. I thought I'd have trouble saying that the first time, but all the ridiculousness and all the nonsense that we're actually hearing, that teams who don't want to spend 10 cents are out and they're looking for quarterbacks for 25, 30 million.
Mm-hmm. Look at what Merv is saying. He says, look at Mike North's head of hair. You gotta love seeing that. Man, you do have a lot of great hair.
It's like a toupee. It's a toupee. I put my in. I left about 5 pounds. The cheeks are gone, and the toupee is a little bit crooked, but I'm feeling good. Yeah, the hair is the automatic thing.
Uh-huh.
If somebody said to you, do you want to lose your teeth or do you want to lose your hair? I'll take all my teeth out. I'll get new ones. Okay, now I guess they got this Restore thing, Urlacher,
That's right.
Guys with the head, the Sandberg and all them.
Mm-hmm.
They do those billboards, but since they've done those billboards, I've never seen any of them in public. So I just, you know, they hide in the corner, but I guess it's working pretty good. I would take a shot at it if I did not have the abundance of hair follicles in there.
That's right. You certainly Well, Mike, you brought up Matt Stafford, so let's talk a little bit about this guy because apparently he and the Detroit Lions are definitely parting ways. David Carr, who works for the NFL Network and played a little bit in the NFL, he says it's going to take the Bears 2 first-round draft picks to pick up a Matt Stafford because it's an interdivisional team. But I hear you saying, hell no, Stafford, no way, huh?
Is everybody out of their minds? We should have won both games against Detroit. Stafford, they're saying he is team friendly now because of his contract, $40 million left. Check his contract, how unteam friendly it was 3 years ago and why they don't have any players on the team. Because of his deal. And then you have Matthew Stafford and you're Calvin Johnson and you just walk away? You just walk away from this another guy that's once in a generational quarterback under these rules. He has never gotten the job done. We talk about quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers, who basically are one-hit wonders. I've always said Aaron Rodgers on this show was a regular season hero, was a stat stuffer, and I've seen nothing to tell me otherwise. I mean, I keep hearing he's the greatest quarterback on earth. He's got 1 Super Bowl. 1. And the 2 guys, Favre and him, got 2 Super Bowl wins since 92. I mean, that's downright abhorrent. It's brutal. And I keep hearing how if you get him or if you get Stanford, everything's going to be all right. The Chicago Bears were picked below Detroit this year in a lot of surveys.
Oh, yeah.
They were picked to win 3 games, 4 games. Detroit has been talked about for 3-4 years that they were on the come, and they haven't been anywhere. I mean, Stafford never has had a running game, but how much patience has he put in? I mean, he likes to throw the ball when they're down.
Yeah.
And he picks up a lot of yards. So, no, I'm with Mitch on this one.
He is among the top 10 quarterbacks in fourth quarter comebacks, but a lot of people are saying, well, the reason they had to have a comeback was partly because of his fault and interceptions that he threw and mistakes. So he is a bit of an enigma when it comes to
He's a more talented Jay Cutler.
And we know how much you love Jay Cutler.
I mean, I would love him if he produced. Everybody loves him. This is the only town where quarterback doesn't produce and you love him, and a quarterback does produce on a team that was supposed to win 3, 4, 5, 6 games this year, and we make the playoffs, and we can't wait to boot him out. So I'm like I said before, Aldo, I'm done defending Trubisky. I won that battle. And like I said, congratulations to Mitch. He's getting married, getting engaged. And I said, well, all he needs is 1 table for the media that had his back. And we might have a couple empty chairs. 1 table, because, for the people that if Foles was getting married last year, they would have had to probably rent out Gibson's, the downstairs and upstairs, just with the media people that fawned over his tired, pathetic ass.
Well, and another quarterback that's now making a lot of news is Jared Goff, the quarterback of the LA Rams. Apparently, they don't really want him either. They didn't give him a great round of endorsement. What are your thoughts about Goff? He's got a huge, huge contract. I think it's even bigger than Stafford's from a cap perspective. Would you entertain the idea of acquiring him?
No. Is Jared Goff coming here and winning the Super Bowl with the Bears, or do we have a better chance with Mitch? Has everybody lost their mind? I said last week, I listened to a few shows that I respect. I jump in and out, and I watch this show on Visit. Okay. Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard. I flip around the dial all day. I might catch a half hour to 45 minutes of their show. Very good show. Good information and everything else. It's on Marquee. And I keep hearing what I heard last week, that there's no way Mahomes could lose. Well, there was no way Aaron Rodgers could lose last week. And, you look at the guy and he shouldn't lose. Mahomes shouldn't lose, yet you look at the spread and, I haven't charted the game yet. I'm going to wait till the last day before. I'm going to wait maybe on our show next week or on AM 1000. I'll put it out on Twitter. But, if all they have to do, all ESPN 1000 and Randy Martin would have to do is just take 4 minutes of Carmen and me last Friday night. And what I said is simple. I said, this is verbatim. Has everybody lost their mind? You're playing Tom Brady. He's been to 9 Super Bowls, 14 conference championships. Yeah, but Aaron Rodgers can throw sideways. Hey, he threw a pass one time like this. You know, his family doesn't like him, but we do. I talked to a guy the other day at the gas station. He said to me, I'm a Green Bay fan, but I've never been an Aaron Rodgers fan. And there are a lot of people like that. You know, the pity party this week and everything else. But if you listened to me, I said, you're giving Tom Brady points. You're going to an empty Green Bay stadium. That's big. There's nobody to jump into the stands and catch you. If you jump in the stands, you'll be on your ass and you got to get back up. Okay, and you got to get back on the field if you score. And I was just staggered by the amount of people that are now just blaming that 4th down play. You had 3 cracks from there. I understand both sides. One side says he should have gone for it on 4th. Well, if he doesn't make it, they get the ball there and they lose anyway.
Right.
You kick the field goal. Here's what this guy was thinking. Can my defense, and I know I see both sides here. It sounds insane. Can we stop Tom Brady? We had 3 interceptions in the second half.
That's right.
Well, if you're that coach, and I'm not big on the coach, I don't care who's coaching him. You hope to stop Brady on 3 downs, maybe get a pick or what have you, and then they punt the ball, and then you got Rodgers only down by 5, and a touchdown wins the game. I know what the guy was thinking. Does it look stupid now? Yeah. Did it look stupid beforehand? I didn't hear everybody going nuts when they kicked the field goal. I thought it was a sound move if you can stop him, but
they didn't stop him.
Stop Tom Brady. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
Let's go. Wait, he's got 3 interceptions.
Right.
So it was possible. He took a shot and lost, but I'm not going to beat the guy up because of that. They were supposed to wipe Tampa Bay out.
Right. Their big opportunity, they being the Packers, were those 3 possessions after those interceptions.
Right.
And on 2 of those 3 possessions, they went 3 and out.
Yeah,
and
how's that?
Actually had -5 yards on 2 of those 3 possessions. So that was huge. That's where they blew the game. The decision, you can think about it afterwards, but I agree with you. You still needed, more than a score. So pick up the field goal, trust your defense to go out there, and they just didn't get it done.
Yeah, and to just lean on that when you see, Aaron Rodgers, I said that he was going to run out on that field. It's all on the podcast on either the Bar Room or where I really lit him up is on the ESPN 1000 podcast, where I said, come on now. If you're going to just pick on that, look at all the other plays that Aaron Rodgers had a chance. And look at the running play. See, he's turning the pass there. Mm-hmm. If he had just decided to run, he's down by the 2 or 3 yard line, and they got a better chance. But he decided, I'm going to be like Tom Brady. And I said that Tom Brady was going to do the impossible. Aaron Rodgers ran out in that field favored by 3.5, but I think he knew he was the underdog. He looked across that field. I'm sorry. You're Bob Guccione. You're from Penthouse, okay? You got a touch football team, all right? You're Bob Guccione, people. Penthouse magazine. They were the magazine that was going to knock out Hugh Hefner and Playboy back in the day. Mm-hmm. And you come up, and you're Bob Guccione, and you come out, and you look across the field. No matter how great your magazine's going, there's Hugh Hefner. You're not winning. You're not winning. And that's what Rodgers is. Rodgers is Bob Guccione, and Brady is Hugh Hefner. Period.
What a great comparison.
Well, I have to throw him out. You know what I mean.
Hey, check out this question. Chicago's finest asks, how is the Bookie Priest, and what does the Holy One think of the Super Bowl? Are we going to see an appearance by the Bookie Priest here on the Mike North Advantage?
Yes, we're going to see an appearance. He's going to put out a little deal because we got some big things coming up. He's sort of aggravated because things are going well. He likes me for his drop in his popularity and stuff like that. But the Bookie Priest will be back Friday morning promoting. Because I wrote it down for him. He's got to do it. I don't know what he says beforehand, before the video actually starts.
Yeah.
But My guy runs the video. Sometimes I hear some of the things he says, and that's why there's been an absence. A lot of jealousy there. People don't know he's a cousin. He thinks that I've forgotten him. He thinks that he's been blackballed.
Oh no!
Yeah, blackballed by the mainstream media and by myself. And I said, "There's no such thing as a blackball." Oh no, they would never do that to anybody. So that's the deal. Hey, somebody. That's my mother under disguise. It says, "You guys are great."
Your mom got some great texts.
My mother hates the computer age. Whatever happened to just passing out pamphlets? Everybody seemed to know what was going on.
That's right. Over on the corner, you hand out a pamphlet.
This one's open tomorrow. This one's closed till next week. This one's open over here. The church might be open. Just put out a pamphlet. That's what my mother says. Why do I have to have a computer? She's like, she's 90. I mean, she went on a date in a covered wagon. How is she supposed to? You know what I mean? Come on.
Hey, I want to talk a little bit more about Tom Brady, but before we do that, I want to play for you a clip of Aaron Rodgers. He's apparently a freaking guest on oh gosh, I forgot the name of the show.
Hey, McAfee or Pat McAfee.
Yeah, Pat McAfee. Yes, thank you. And I've seen clips of the show from time to time, and it's really a well-done show.
Yeah.
So Rodgers pops in every now and then, and so he was asked about those comments that he made after the game, and everyone went wild thinking, Rodgers is not coming back and so forth. And so this is Rodgers expounding on that.
My future is not in my hands. Now, that's really the case for all of us, I think, as players. But you can't, I think, naturally – there's times where you let your mind go to maybe, I'm going to be a Packer for life, or I'm going to be, I'm going to be like a Tim Duncan or a Jeter or a Kobe and play with one team my entire career. I think naturally you dream about that. I mean, that's kind of like a dream scenario, and I've talked about that for much of my career. I think, when they drafted Jordan, it was more just like the reality kicking in going, hey, that's actually never the case. There are no absolutes in this business.
He says he is not. Mike, stop crying, please.
I don't know why you pull this on me, man. You didn't bring that up. Of course, we don't talk beforehand, but look at the nonsense. All those people you just saw think he's the greatest quarterback who ever lived, or one of the top 5. Okay, he's Jeff Hostetler. Okay. All right, that's what he is. He's a one-hit wonder until he wins another one. And if he would have won this week, right?
Yeah.
Second Super Bowl win. Is anybody saying Brady's the best quarterback in football right now? Or is anybody even bringing up Mahomes? It's all about Rodgers. And I found this interesting. And I was talking about the guys on Visson earlier. I can't tell who they bet because I tune in and out. But if you're still complaining on Wednesday about the 4th down play, you bet Green Bay. You bet Green Bay. Because I got to be honest with you, I bet Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see a problem with the call. Let's just move on to the next week. But some people just can't. It's sort of like the Trubisky thing. If you like him, you like him. If you don't, you don't. There are people out making excuses for Aaron Rodgers, and it's become tough.
Well, Packers president Mark Murphy says, we're not idiots. Aaron Rodgers will be back. So let's kind of put that to rest. They drafted his heir apparent.
He's going to go to the 49ers. He's going to go to the Redskins. I heard 9 places that he was going to play next year except the Bears. Except the Bears. Because I don't think that would happen, although McMahon, when he was done, played for Green Bay.
Right. He was done. That was a key thing.
He was done. Okay? But, I mean, that's a guy, McMahon. He's got more Super Bowl rings than Rodgers. Green Bay, he's got with Favre, and he's got the Bears.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to Ron Rutnow, a good friend of the bar room. He's getting over COVID. The whole family caught it. So best wishes to you, Ron. Get well and extend Mike Norris and my wishes for the entire family.
Yeah, the COVID thing. I mean, hopefully it's getting better now, and you got to be careful. Your whole family got it. You know, my mom, she wants to, let's get together. I go, no, it's not over yet. She goes, starting open. I go, but the teachers ain't back. I mean, wake up your mind. I said, I can't go by this. I'm staying in. I pull the shades down. I look out the corner. That's it. Let me know when it's ready. Let me know when we can all go out. My court will not be seen on Rush Street with a mask. It defies any of my principles.
One more question about Aaron Rodgers, and then I want to talk about Brady, is how do you feel about him? You know, a lot of people have been saying, and even in the chat room, I'm seeing now, you know, it would be great if he left the division, be better for the Bears. But I'm of the opinion I want to beat Rodgers. I want to beat him twice next year and then get into the playoffs and beat him a third time. Are you that way, or are you just saying, let's just get rid of him?
No, I want him to play for the Packers because I think the Bears can beat him. Mitch has beaten him once already, okay, which is even to what Cutler did in 14 or 15 matchups or something. I just think that if Rodgers left, okay, if Stafford left, only the Bears would be stupid enough to get rid of Trubisky. They'd bring a new guy in, and then everybody's learning at the same time instead of keeping the guy that got you in the playoffs for one more year, because I guarantee you they get rid of Trubisky, which isn't bad now because I hear they want to get – how can I get mad if the Bears get rid of Trubisky even though I know he's the guy that we should have next year?
Right.
People are getting rid of other guys that fell on their face. I want everybody to tell you. I want everybody to look at that. Stafford's being rumored out. I mean, do we want the guy from Dallas? Do we really want him? Do you want Prescott? Every time I go to a Bear, I go, do you want this guy, a Bear fan? No. Do you want that guy? No. Well, who do you want? I just asked the guy on Twitter before. Mike Trubisky's never going to make it. He's already made it. He's in his 4th season. And he starts on the National Football League team. You people want to deny that. But like I've said, within reason, who you bringing in? Who you bringing in? Because I'm hearing nonsense. I heard yesterday Rodgers is going to the 49ers. Stafford, who I said last year on Bears Buehrle, would be a perfect Dallas Cowboy. I mean, if you're asking me Prescott or Stafford, I'll take Prescott. I mean, I'll take Stafford, but I don't want Prescott or Stafford on the Bears.
Interesting.
Because I think Stafford would have playmakers around him that he denied for his team years ago when he signed that big deal.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people forget, too, about Dak Prescott. While he put up really good numbers, he had an outstanding line, one of the best offensive lines in football. Great. And he had one of the best running backs in football, Ezekiel Elliott, and yet they weren't winning. And so you got to wonder why.
All I know is Mitch got in the playoffs. He's 0-2, and Lamar Jackson's 1-3. I mean, it doesn't matter at the end of the year. Look, if you're going to get rid of quarterbacks because you can't beat the best, then Rodgers should have been gone 3-4 years ago. If that's what you're going to do. Because I don't see Aaron Rodgers winning the Super Bowl. I don't. I thought this was their best opportunity. Yeah. And he let a 43-year-old guy beat him. The running game, I mean, really, he didn't answer the bell either. I understand the call, but he didn't run for the touchdown. There were other plays that he overthrew people. And then I'm hearing excuses by Chicago writers that if Trubisky did the same thing, they'd be driving him out of town. So I'm just trying to figure out the rationale here. What's fair and what's not fair? It depends who you like and who you don't like.
Right. All right, let's talk about Tom Brady. Is Tom Brady already the greatest of all time, or does he need to win this Super Bowl to really ice the whole conversation? It's over. Tom Brady is the greatest of all time.
He's the greatest. I mean, he came in. I mean, Michael Jordan went to the Wizards. Did he win his first year with the Wizards? No. He was younger. This guy goes to another team, another conference, goes on the road, and can't win 3 in a row. And all he does is do all the stuff that they say you can't do. And he's boring. His quarterback sneak is his most exciting play. He throws the football 7-8 yards downfield. But I'll tell you, there were a couple drops, and there were some good, nice catches, but there were a couple drops. He was on the dime, especially in the first half. He does what he has to do to win. He's not going to throw for gaudy yards like Dan Fouts used to, or like other quarterbacks like Rodgers or Stafford do. I mean, the statistics now, because of the lightening up on the quarterback, are unrealistic. I mean, it's hard to. The quarterbacks don't fear things as much as they used to. Quarterbacks used to get rid of the ball as quick as they could back in the day, or if they saw a rush, they'd either take the sack, because there was none of this. You can run outside the tackle box and throw the ball out of bounds. back in those days, that was intentional grounding.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying, you can look at all the stats. Everybody's got great stats. Drew Brees would have never played in the National Football League as a quarterback in the 60s, 70s, 80s, or early 90s. Never. And if you want to question me on that, fine. I was there. I seen what they used to do to guys like Unitas and Tarkenton and other people like that, and they kept up getting up.
The Tooch in the chat room reminds me.
I'm winning him nothing but money. I am your stimulus package, Tooch. I know. I like that new picture. I like that new picture.
Yeah, look at how sexy he looks there. That is good.
He just bought a new sweat top, sweatsuit top there.
With all
the every day.
That's right.
Because I win every day. We win every day. We ride together. You know, like the rest of the people. I'm getting a lot of people coming on now to Twitter. If you want my picks, you better follow me at Twitter and follow the Bears Barroom. That's where you see the tags. Because I had a guy say, boy, I didn't know you picked this game 2 days ago. And then I look, he's not following me. Well, if you ain't following me, pal, you're going to miss it. Or Bears Barroom or AM 1000 or any other betting venue, gambling Twitter, #gambling Twitter.
There you go. Hey, so Tooch reminds us that 50% of the last 20 Super Bowls have starred Tom Brady. Isn't that like, oh my God?
Yeah, it is. And people think that maybe Mahomes will do that. Let me just say this. Mahomes just got a concussion 2 weeks ago, okay? Mm-hmm. So this nonsense, he's going to win all this and that. He's already shown if you hit him, what happens if he gets hit this week or next week?
Well, the offensive line is really hurt for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a huge thing.
I'm going to tell everybody this right now. Patrick Mahomes will never go and win 7 Super Bowls. I'm going to just say it right now. The law of averages are against him. He's already had 1 concussion. His line is porous. You know what? I love their team. I love what he does. I think he's great. But the nonsense. Hey, I've been hearing Peyton Manning's better than Brady. I've heard Russell Wilson's better than Brady. Aaron Rodgers. And these are from adults that do this for a living. Grown people. Grown-ups. Yeah. I'm repeat. I love Russell Wilson, but he's not better than Brady. Hey, Aaron Rodgers, you see that throw he did the other day? He goes like this, underhanded. Boy, nobody's ever had his talent. There's been a guy who's been to 14 conference championships playing against him. He crapped the bed. He looked at Brady and had a heart attack. And then you know what I knew he was in trouble? When you play tight, not only do you play tight, like if you're shooting a free throw, you might. I've been in the situation, a little more tight in key situations. You make the free throw, but you don't know how you made it because you didn't follow through.
Yeah.
I'll tell you when I thought they were in trouble last week. Rodgers had a clear field early in the first quarter to run 20 yards. Mm-hmm. He started to run, and some 300-pound linemen ran him down and sacked him from behind.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before. He usually gets positive yards when he decides to run. Mm-hmm. And he got tackled from behind. So Tampa Bay, let's give their defense. And Todd Bowles, by the way, give him a coaching job. Again, he deserves another chance.
Yeah.
He deserves a chance, man. I'm hearing all these other names. Give this guy a chance. He had the Jets. Who doesn't get loose with the Jets? You know? Give him a chance and a decent team because he put together a defense that stopped Aaron Rodgers and that team.
That's a very, very good point.
Quit looking at the Rooney Rule. Look at the guy that's getting it done. Quit looking at the shade of his face and just say, who's Tampa Bay's guy? Oh, Rooney Rule. No, just hire the guy.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not interviewing anybody else. We're going with Todd Bowles. That would be refreshing.
Mm-hmm. He definitely deserves another shot. Now he had like that 26-41 record with the Jets, but hey, a lot of coaches get second chances. So
listen, the last time the Jets won, the Cubs choked in the World 1969.
Jeez,
right?
That is a long time ago.
The nonsense like you hear with Mahomes and Rodgers. Nobody can beat Baltimore. They're 18-point favorites, and they got Earl Morrall and Johnny Unitas. How do you like them apples? The next thing you know, Namath's running off the field with the 1-up. and then he has to pay for a meal for the rest of his life.
Yeah. Pusher T makes the point that Todd Bowles had an opportunity to come to the Chicago Bears, but he had made a commitment to Tampa Bay and didn't want to renege with Bruce Arians, and so he decided to stay there. But Nagy wanted him with the Bears to be the defensive coordinator after Fangio left, but it just didn't work out because of timing.
Well, first of all, I just want to say Pusha T stole the name. Stole my name. I wanted that name, and he took it. But what I do on the golf course, all I'm going to say is it didn't end up that way. We got a guy that was just okay as a defensive coordinator. Did some good things, did some bad things. I'm one of those guys that will blame the players too. But you know what? I got the new guy. What's his name? The new guy now?
Sean Desai.
Okay. He's been with them since 2013, right?
Correct. He came with Fangio. Correct.
Why did it take this long? Why did it take this long?
Well, he's still a really young guy.
How old is he? I don't even know that much
I think
about
he's
him.
like 36 or 37. So he started off like an assistant to the assistant, and he kind of worked his way up.
I was just wondering because, I thought, and he coached the safeties this year, the weakest part maybe of their defense. So, I mean, the front seven were pretty damn good at times, and other times, I mean, you have Khalil Mack make the Pro Bowl or the All-Pro team. And I looked at him and I said, well, if you're going to go by the part of the defensive football field that team that broke down, that was his responsibility, the safeties. But I'm willing to give him a chance. I think if he worked under Fazio, that he knows what he's got to do. He can't sit back and rush two guys. I mean, when I saw Hicks going back in coverage, and I go, come on, man. And I don't think you'll see that with this guy.
Dave Luckett the fifth says that forget Tom Brady, Mike North is the greatest of all time.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you need me to sell you a hot dog, I can do that. You need me to do something, I can do that. You need some picks, I know I can do that.
There you go.
So, I mean, that's it. I mean, the bottom line is you just got to toot your own horn because believe me, they ain't tooting for you. You got to let it know this is the place to go to win and straight on talk like me and Aldo have been doing for 3 years. This, and we'll have I'm going to have an announcement next week for this wonderful show and some other wonderful things that we're doing here at the bar room. And Aldo, the Butkus jersey that's behind you is an inspiration to me, my friend.
How about it, right? I love that.
I love that, I love that, man.
I've got two of them. One of them was sent to me by a barroom fan, which I am eternally grateful. I love both of these jerseys. One of them is autographed, and I've got a second one. So, and I've got Butkus memorabilia all over the place because when I started watching the Bears, he was the guy. Him and Gale Sayers, they were the guys.
They were the guys. I got to ask you. Speaking of they were the guys, I thought this went through my mind last night when I was having trouble sleeping. I just woke up at like 1 a.m. and just went, if Trubisky quarterbacked the 87 Bears instead of Tomczak or Fuller, or if he quarterbacked a couple of other teams, would we have gone 1-3 in NFC championship games? I'm always curious if you put a team around them, like a line, like Covert, and Bortz and all those guys, and you had Galt and some of these other guys, would Trubisky have led us? And I kept coming up with yes. We would have, if we made it with Grossman at 56% passing to the Super Bowl, what would we have done with Mitch? And Bear fans know the best quarterback statistically isn't always going to win. Jim McMahon didn't have the greatest stats. But if I had to win one game and my life depended on it, and it's between Rodgers and McMahon, I'm taking McMahon.
Yeah.
Both men being healthy, it's not even close. None. Not even close.
Yeah. What do you think about we had on Jeff Pearlman on one of our shows earlier this week. He wrote the Sweetness book. What do you think about the Chicago Bears in that era after 1985? What's the biggest reason they didn't go on and have a dynasty and win at least 2, 3, or 4 Super Bowls, which all of us thought was going to happen?
You know I do my homework, and you're always saying, Mike, please give us a different angle. We've heard about McMahon, we've heard Peyton, we've heard about the defense, but why did they not finish? I heard Jim McMahon on a TV show say this, and I think it's apropos. He said 86, 87, 88, 89, we played 4 games a week. We played 3 practices a day with pads. Sometimes those practices would last 3 to 4 hours because there'd be fights almost every play. By the time we played the 4th game, which was the Sunday game, after playing against the Bear defense for 3 times a week, it was nothing. It was nothing to play against another defense. He thinks, and he has said this, and I just replayed it. He said that because Ditka and Ryan had him practice and play 4 games a week in pads, he says we have a terrible home record in the playoffs. And he says, I think we had nothing left by the time we played that game. By the time we played those games, that sounds like an excuse, but think about it. They don't even have pads on now during practice.
Yeah, that's right.
The Bears played a game 3 days a week in pads against each other. And Ditka wouldn't let up.
Yeah.
Ever. And that's Ditka's mistake. And that's Ryan's mistake to an extent, to be honest.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of validity to that. And
it's not an excuse.
Right.
It's just, they beat them up.
Right. And Jeff Pearlman's book, one of the things that's mentioned is that the defense, the Bears defense, they were like, I mean, they were out to kill their own teammates on the other side of the field. They were ferocious. They never let back.
Jimbo Covert told me they got in a brawl with McMichael, and he planted McMichael. He took care of McMichael, but McMahon says there was fights on almost every play when they played against each other because they were playing with pads and they were out trying to do each other. And Ryan didn't like Ditka didn't like Ryan. So you're playing 3 games a week, and then Sunday you're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's a walk in the park. I mean, seriously, they were throwing McMahon down during practices. I mean, you got Otis Wilson, Wilbur Marshall. You got guys even at the beginning of McMahon's career, Hartenstein. You got animals coming at you, and Ditka's going, good job, as they're planting the guy. Good job.
That's pretty bad.
I mean, nowadays, you just wonder how good this Bears team would have been, that team, if it was like then, like it is now. No practices during the week. You got McMahon healthy. I mean, McMahon was never that healthy to begin with, and he's taking every snap during practice.
Yes. Hey, Pusha asked, who was the team president back in the 1980s? You want to tell them who it was and your encounter with them?
It was after 86, they wanted Michael McCaskey was the guy. We had that argument and everything else. George McCaskey's taken over, but the guy I remember was Jim Finks.
Oh, the best.
Hallis hired.
Yes.
And if they keep Dick, Finks died. I mean, and then he went on, and he's a Hall of Famer. But they had a good structure. They had Bill Tobin. They had Jim Finks. You had football guys in charge of football operations. Then you had somebody handle the cap. That's been the argument that Ted Phillips is not a football guy. And either was Michael McCaskey. Michael McCaskey watched the money, and Jim Finks and all these other guys until, Papa Bear died. They were on the sidelines. I mean, Papa Bear, Hallis, for people don't know, they said the game passed him by in the 50s, and then he wins in 63 with George Allen.
That's right.
Okay? So basically, he's a legend. I mean, he came back, and he's won so many championships. But him dying was not the plan. Muggs dying. Muggs Hallis dying was not the plan.
That's
because
correct.
if he lived, he would have run the team, and I think we would have had more success.
That's correct. Pusha, no offense to your uncle, but it was Muggs Hallis that died, not Mike McCaskey. Mike McCaskey.
He just died, Mike McCaskey, recently.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So what happened with this team was just some unfortunate. Look at this guy with the Riverview T-shirt. Oh my gosh! Tell people who don't know about Riverview here in Chicago. Tell them what Riverview is all about.
Just look up YouTube. 1967, 68. They closed in. It was a bad year in 1967. We had the big snow, and they closed Riverview. Riverview is the greatest amusement park. Laughing trouble away. Riverview was the greatest amusement park ever built. It was on Western and Belmont. Look it up. There should be a movie about it. There's documentaries about it.
Oh, yeah.
I went to Disneyland as a kid. Oh, we're going to Disneyland. Soft. The rides can't kill you. Well, you get wet on the log ride. We had rides. You sat on a piece of wood, and you had a little strap on you, and you went up 200 feet on a parachute jump. And they said, ready? And you'd go, yeah. And you could see the top, the roof of Lane Tech. You could see for miles around. And you're sitting on a little chair, a little board, like a swing back in the day. The woods. You're sitting up there going, this is the greatest. You're one chain link away from dying, from falling to your death. And there were 14, 15 deaths at that park on roller coasters and everything else. Thrilling. Look at it. Oh, let's see it go down. This was the best. This was no ordinary log ride. Here we go. Ready? We're going to hurl you down hundreds of feet. And you might end up hitting the retainer wall at the end.
That's right.
Look at this. Oh, God, I miss it so badly.
Oh, my gosh.
Look at this ride. Hi. You know what? You might not live after this ride. Look at this.
That's right. That thing looks like it's ready to fall apart.
Some guy hooked it up. Who just got out of jail doing 5 years on robbery. Let's take the kid and his grandmother sideways. It was the best. And then Lane Tech's right across the street.
That's right. Lane Tech High School, right?
Talk about Wrigley Field being in the. Look at this one.
The Bob.
They go to the Bobs, the Death Coaster. How you doing?
That's right.
One of you may not live to see the end of this ride. I mean, it was insane. Look at this. They're on wooden scaffolds. You don't even wash windows on these things now. They're metal.
I'm not sure there was anything to hold on to.
I had a seat cushion almost fall off, and I'm sliding. I'm going, are you kidding me? Ernie goes, looks like fun to me. It was the best. And you'd take from 6000 North Broadway, we'd walk to Devon, take the Devon bus to Western, and then take the Western bus to Belmont. As a kid, when you're anxious to go to Riverview,
sure,
you're like 10, 12, 14 years old at the time. It was like it took all day to get there, the two buses. And it really was only a matter of like 25, 30 minutes. But, man, you had to transfer, wait for the other bus, Yeah,
it was great. And they had one of the best freak shows you will ever see. I remember seeing the man with two faces, the cow with 8 legs, the bearded woman and so forth. And this was all like, I mean, I was a kid then, so I could have been fooled. But I swear, there was a guy with 2 faces. There was a cow with 8 legs.
If you want to see old time Chicago and the way things used to be, I'm not going to bring it up graphically or anything. Go to the dunk tanks.
Yeah.
Go to the dunk tanks and see people throw baseballs at the guys that most of them were African American, and they would fire insults at you. And they're throwing the ball and they can't. These guys were great.
Yeah.
Every so often you get the dunk tanks were great, everything.
Yep, indeed. All right, I want to turn our attention to a little bit of baseball because yesterday it was announced that for the first time since 1960 and just the 7th time since the first election into the Baseball Hall of Fame, the National Baseball Hall of Fame did not have any inductees into the game. I got a graphic here with a list of some of the votes. Here is Curt Schilling. He got 71% of the votes, but you need 75. Barry Bonds got 61, Clemens 61, Scott Rowland 52, and on it goes. Mike, what is your thinking about this? Does Curt Schilling, for starters, does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame?
He won some big games, but I saw Hall of Famers. The status for Hall of Fame has gone down. I mean, I met Bob Bell. I met Warren Spahn. These guys, Warren Spahn won 350 games. I interviewed Mickey Mantle. I interviewed Ted Williams. So the fact that they're not in today and there's nobody, I'm thrilled. They've already destroyed the Hall of Fame anyway. Harold Baines got in. I mean, Harold Baines getting in. He was a very nice ball player. He shouldn't be in the same Hall of Fame as Ted Williams or Babe Ruth. I'm sorry. No comparison. Babe Ruth crapped bigger than Harold Baines. I'm sorry. Harold Baines is a nice, and there's other guys. Bill Mazeroski, good fielder, but he had 270. He had the big home run. To me, they ruined the Hall of Fame. They let people in. If you have to guess whether a guy's a Hall of Famer or not, then he's not.
Right.
Barry Bonds is not a Hall of Famer. He cheated. He's not getting in. But the fact that 66 out of every 10 want the guy in, look, the guy had talent when he was in Pittsburgh. He would have made the Hall of Fame. Why did you do this? Why did you look to play checkers with 16 checkers instead of with 12?
Mm-hmm.
I always bring up the analogy that for anybody that thinks, even the writers who vote on these nonsensical guys, and Schilling's right, he wants himself off the ballot. Let's go to guys that know what they're doing, the Veterans Committee. But seriously, the fact that Bonds isn't in already, but they're starting to get a few more votes is troubling to me.
Mm-hmm.
That these same writers who, if you take their chair in the press box, go and cry. You took my chair. You took my chair. And I just want to let you know it says WGN. And he's sitting there. Those are the guys that want these guys in. When they get screwed around, they cry. Bottom line is the Hall of Fame's dead to me. The baseball, as far as integrity, is gone with the Astros winning the World Series, under really fixing the World Series, basically. I'm not a fan of the commissioner, so, I'm nonplussed about the Hall of Fame. I mean, they want everybody in now. I mean, Reinsdorf and Tony La Russa got Baines in. There's no reason for him to be in the Hall of Fame unless you're a White Sox fan and you want to call. He played a lot of years. That's not how it goes.
Yeah, it seems like
he never led the league in anything.
Yeah.
In anything.
Yeah. It seems like he was rewarded because he played clean and didn't have, like, for instance, Sammy Sosa, and Barry Bonds, the steroids issues.
Yeah. If you're asking me if I'm happier that he's in over these guys, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's where I'll give him his due. You did it the right way. But I never saw him. How many diving catches did he ever make, Harold Baines?
I don't think he ever made one.
I mean, seriously. How many times did boy Baines stretched out? Never. But I mean, and I'm hearing Andrew Jones is a Hall of Famer. Andrew Jones got pulled from the middle of a ball game for not hustling by Bobby Cox.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so to me, whoever wants to vote these guys in, if you played a writer in checkers and you're getting 12 checkers each, right? Right? You get 12 checkers.
I think so, yeah.
It's as far as I remember.
I don't remember.
We're ready to play. We're playing for $100. Let's say I'm playing Mark Potash. Okay?
Okay.
It's the media loudmouth against the writer. Okay? I beat him. But I have 16 checkers and he has 12.
Mm-hmm.
Do I make the check? Should I make the Checkers Hall of Fame with beating them for cheating?
Mm-hmm.
No. But these guys, but he was good in anyway before he cheated. People are a bunch of saps. They're a bunch of saps. They just want to be different. You're going to vote for guys that cheated the game.
Mm.
And they're pushing Cora. They pushed Hinch. Major League Baseball and the writers, I could do without them. They're a bunch of saps.
What about Pete Rose?
Well, if he's not in, how can you let anybody else in? If you're going to play those games, if you're going to, but he's not in. But if Bonds gets in, Rose should be in.
Yeah.
Bonds did more to cheat the game than Rose ever did. Bonds cheated it every year for like a decade.
Yeah.
And people knew it. I knew Sammy Sosa. When I met Sammy, he weighed 180 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When I shook hands with him 5 years later, I thought I was talking to The Rock. You know what I mean? My God. It was funny.
What Dave is asking about Mark Buehrle, and let me get this thing out of the way here. Buehrle got, I think I had the stat. Buehrle got a percentage of the vote. Let me see. I think it's all on this graphic. Mark Buehrle got 11% of the vote. So you need 5% to remain on the ballot, but you need 75%. I think this was Buehrle's first year of eligibility. Do you think, I know it doesn't mean much to you anymore, and I think a lot of fans feel the same way you do, but do you think Buehrle is deserving of being in the Hall?
where he's more deserving than the two scumbags in front of him. Wilson, Ramirez, and he's more deserving. No, the three scumbags. You got Ramirez, cheating rat. You got Sosa, the needle. Petty, the needle. All three of those guys are cheaters.
Yeah.
So if you're asking me who should be ahead of all three, it's Mark Buehrle.
Yeah.
But I don't think Mark Buehrle is a Hall of Fame pitcher. And he's done some individual beautiful things. But what's his record? I mean, you know what I mean? And the Sox, remember when the Sox got rid of him? I couldn't believe it. They let him walk to Toronto. They let him go. Oh, he's done. He went 4 more years.
Mm-hmm.
He went 4 more years, but they just decided he was going to ask for the big dough, and they let our Hall of Famer go.
Yeah.
So am I to believe the Sox let go of a Hall of Famer again? Huh? So what do you think? What's his record?
He has 214 wins, 160
Great
losses.
percentage. If you're going to go by percentage, you got to absolutely take a look at him. And he didn't cheat. And I love the guy. And he did the no-hitter, the catch by Wise, just unbelievable. So, yeah, I mean, if Mark Buehrle did make it, I wouldn't be upset because a lot of guys are making it that shouldn't make it. But he should be ahead of those three goofs. Pettit, Sosa, and Ramirez. You can't be cheating the game like they did and get into the Hall of Fame. It doesn't mean anything to most fans anyway now because baseball, like I said, lost their integrity with Cora and with Hinch.
Yeah. One more question about Sammy. We all know about the steroid use. Do you think that after he stopped taking steroids is why his skin turned white?
I love Sammy, but
yeah, what's going on with
that? I love Sammy. That's still one of the most bizarre pictures because I've known Sammy. I knew Sammy in the 90s, early 90s, and good-looking guy, stud.
Yep.
Even when he was thin, I called him the Panther back then because he was so slight, And I mean, really, it looked like when I first met him, I asked him, "You want something to eat?" I mean, my God. He was emaciated. Then I see him. He's a Hall of Famer. Now, see, this is where steroids helped. See, Bonds was good already. Sammy wasn't. Steroids helped Sammy Sosa more than any player who ever played the game.
Yeah.
He was a 70 hitter, 20 home runs, 22 home runs. And this guy, I don't even want to know what he put into his body. How he jacked himself up. My God, he changed overnight. Yeah.
I will say this about Sammy is those seasons when he was with the Cubs, he brought me back to baseball because after that players strike, the whole, they didn't play, the World Series was canceled. I just had it with baseball. And then when McGuire and Sosa went on that home run chase, and I a lot of people knew about the steroids thing, but
I was the first guy. In the city, at least, and in most of the national stuff, because I knew what these guys used to talk about, that said I was the first guy. If batters are doing it, how come pitchers aren't doing it? So a pitcher that throws 93 miles an hour and has a sore arm named Roger Clemens, who Ron Schuler told me, who was GM of the Sox, I go, why didn't we go after Clemens? He goes, he's damaged goods, Mike. Told me and Dan McNeil that. He's damaged goods, Mike. I go, what do you mean? He's got a bad arm. Everybody knows it. And then all of a sudden, he comes back in Toronto and wins a Cy Young and knocks them all down and looks like better than he was when he was younger, just like Bonds. Cheating fools, man.
Yeah. I remember hearing you guys talking about that on the Score, and it was pretty incredible that comeback that he had. It's like, holy cow.
Unless you're juicing. You don't come back like that unless he's juicing. Yeah. So that's why he doesn't, I knew back then, I knew a grounds crew. I knew some of the guys on the grounds crew. This was amazing. And I saw this one guy, and he says to me, Mike, I got to tell you something. He goes, what? He goes, Houston's in town. I go, good. I'm glad. I know that. I go on the air soon. He goes, I got to tell you something. Yesterday, Clemens pitched. And he had a white tube in the gangway of the dugout because back then you had to go up and over to get to the clubhouse. Nowadays, you can just run down the stairs. You're in the clubhouse and, whatever you want to do, if you do it. He said he's got a white thing of cream that's got bandage covering the name. It was creatine. It was creatine or something. It was, and he said that Clemens, after every inning, would rub it on his arm.
Is that right?
What the hell was that? He kept looking. Okay. Then the tube was almost empty. He looked. He told me. And from that point on the score, I said I couldn't name the guy because, they could find out who's talking. Okay.
Right.
And there was like 20 goals. I didn't want to get him screwed up. But everybody, all the ground crew guys knew about it. Okay. But I kept saying, how come nobody's talking about the pitchers? And voila. The next thing you know, he's in front of Congress.
Hey, did you ever hear the story? David Schuster shared this with me that Seika, the former porn star, would go down to the dugout and provide a seventh inning stretch to some of the players in the clubhouse part where they couldn't be seen.
No, I don't. I never heard that.
Well, this is according to David, so I don't know.
I saw Seika. Listen to this. It's for people that maybe pull up a picture of Seika. If you can.
Sure. I can do that.
One of the great porn stars of all time. Legendary. Yeah, you met I met guys like Ernie Banks, and I've met Jesse Jackson. I've met George Bush, President George Bush. I've met Bobby Heenan. But meeting Seika at Gibson's was definitely, but she was older at the time.
Right.
Gone from her porn days. She put on some weight, but that was her back then. Okay. In the 70s. She's still one of the all-time greats. She's a Mount Rushmore to me, right?
Right.
Well, I saw her one night get in an argument at Gibson's in the 90s with Ric Flair, right in the bar. And she almost knocked Ric Flair on his rear end. And, so, Seika's one of the best. But the best one I ever met was Joe Collins. And I know, Joe, if you're still out there, and I know you are, she was the Playmate of the Year in the 70s, one of the years. Joe Collins. Joe Collins. She lives in Chicago still. I got introduced to her. She was like, this was the thrill of my life. Forget about Sinatra sitting with him. Forget about meeting Muhammad Ali. Joe Collins goes, I've listened to your show, Mike. That was it. Joe Collins. Playmate.
I got to tell you, I just saw a picture of her. Woohoo! Let me bring this up. Wow, look at that.
Joe's a Chicago girl. She's older now, like we all are. But she goes, yeah. And she had, had a daughter, if I remember. She goes, yeah, my daughter listens every so often, stuff like that. Nice lady.
Well,
nice lady.
I'm not feeling old right now, I'll tell you that.
I know you're trying to find one suitable.
Yeah, exactly. The Tooch says that Seika had a regular show at the Admiral every week back in the day. Wow.
The Admiral is like, for people that don't know outside of Chicago, it's the Wrigley Field of strip clubs. It's in the neighborhood.
That's right.
You're on Lawrence and Pulaski. You're having a, you go to a novelty store to the 7-Eleven, then you walk a block and you walk in and they have live shows.
That's right. That's right. I've been there once or twice, but that's a different story for a different day.
Yeah.
Hey, I think it is time for...
Yeah! Uh-oh. Up there?
Take your time. Every week, Mike has a pick or two or three so that we can win money. Now, on ESPN 1000, he is red hot, and it's time for him to...
I'm 16-17 here. I don't like being one under, but that's going to be remedied. We're going to keep this record till the Super Bowl, and then we'll start anew.
All right.
Let's see what I got here. All right. We got some games tonight. I'm going to board. Forget about it. I'm going to give a bunch of picks out today. Okay.
All right.
All right. First game. All right. Let's see how this goes. I'll probably get wiped out. Every time I try something funny like this to try to just gain some steam, this isn't Jason because I'm only one down. I may look at some of these games and as I'm picking them, I may go, oh my God. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to pick this game. Okay. All right. Here we go. First, you have the Toronto Raptor playing against the Milwaukee Bucks tonight. Toronto. Okay, right now, just the spread is 6 +6 at home against, the Greek Freak. I mean, the guy. Here's why I think he's going to have trouble winning it all. They got to get somebody with him. You got Chris Middleton. You got some nice players. You got Conity. You got some other players. You got to get him some help, man. He's by himself. I mean, when Jordan played, you can name Pippen, Grant, all those guys, Rodman.
Mm-hmm.
But how many guys do you hear named along with the Greek Freak on Milwaukee? People don't even know.
You're absolutely right. It is that management over there with the Bucks. They're having a hard time complimenting the Freak. And it's like, for Jerry Krause, for all of the criticism he gets, he got one thing right. At least one thing is that he's surrounded Jordan with the keys to winning championships.
He got everything right. He got Rodman. He brought in Rodman after losing Grant. He brought in sharpshooters like Trent Tucker, and he brought in John Paxson. Yep. He brought in all these guys. He didn't bring in Jordan, but man, he brought in a group that, Jordan can always say. I mean, Jordan's got to be looking. Well, Jordan can't win with his own team, but he's got to be looking at Milwaukee, going, I don't know how you could win. And the Greek Freak's good, but I just don't know how you can win. So we got Toronto +6.5.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that tells you the greatness of the Greek Freak.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, how good he is. Also, I'm going to take Brooklyn tonight, -6 against Atlanta. Brooklyn, -6 against Atlanta. And then I'll do one more NBA pick. I'm going to take, and Eldo's going, this is a special treat.
This is awesome. 3 picks. Tooch is like writing these down. He's got the bookie on the other phone. He's ready to lay these bets down.
You know what the bookies are saying right now? I call up my bookie. I already went out of business last year, right? Why are you doing this to me? It used to be, hey, Mikey, how you doing, buddy? All right, why are you doing this to me? Tears? I can hear him sobbing. Okay.
I got kids. I got to put through college, Mike. Please.
Yeah, what's going on? My kid had to go to a public school. I had him all set to go to Fenwick. You know what I mean? I gave away his location. Try finding him. Okay. Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma.
I'm looking for it right now. Today is the 27th. And as I scroll down, Oklahoma City's playing Phoenix tonight. Okay. Oklahoma City's really hurting. Take Oklahoma City +7.5, okay, against Phoenix. Aldo, back to you. We have Toronto. We have Brooklyn and Oklahoma City. Wait till the end, see what kind of stuff you get. Okay.
3 picks there. We got them. It's the Nets over the Hawks. It's the Thunder over the Suns, and the Toronto Raptors over the Bucks. Good stuff, Mike. All right.
Yeah, I said, let's get ahead of 500. And if we lose again, we lose. All I know is my record through all these platforms has been impeccable, and I'll finish above 500 this year as we go down to the Super Bowl, which is 2 weeks away now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we really need a week off?
No, we don't, especially now that they don't play the Pro Bowl, which was in between hand. Now the Senior Bowl is the big event this weekend.
Oh, ask you about that. You're the granddaddy of them all. Yeah. You're the guy that came down. You've made the Senior Bowl a destination, my friend.
Thank you.
The bottom line is the Senior Bowl people could care less about most of the time, but with the videos and stuff you're doing, Aldo, plus you used to go down there.
Yeah.
You went down to the Hillbilly Riviera, for God's sake. Right? Right?
That's right. I stayed at the Riviera. I stayed at
get a motel room, a couple squares a day, hang out and everything. It's under $100 for the week.
Yeah. I went 3 consecutive years. The first year I stayed at a hotel. I said, let me get the cheapest place and so forth. And when I got there, I called my wife. I said, get me a different hotel. I need to get out of here quick because it was in the worst place in town. And it was filthy and so forth. So the last 2 years that I went, I stayed at a really great hotel. And I really miss going down there. It's a lot of fun. The people were so friendly. And Jim Nagy, no relation to Matt Nagy, does a great job holding that event. They're playing in a new stadium this year, but we'll be back next year when this whole pandemic foolery is done with.
Is it going to be over? Will it be over? Is it going to be over?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be over in 6 months.
Okay, I hope. A year ago.
That's right. Merv says,
I ain't going anywhere. I just decided I'm staying in until. Let me know when you don't need anything.
Yes.
Let me know when it's time to go to a restaurant. Mike, we want to meet at a restaurant. You got to wear a mask. You're only 20. Just let me know when it's over, okay? I've had enough fun in my life. I can wait another, but I feel bad for the kids. I feel Illinois should be playing sports. That's the thing that I think we've screwed up because you see states around us playing, and that makes us look bad. And a lot of our kids are playing in tournaments in other states like Wisconsin, Indiana, and others.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Merv says Mike North has to be an inspiration for that episode in The Simpsons that they did in the 90s when Homer was gambling with Moe and Lisa was the brains behind the picks. So
I don't know if I like that little statement by the old Merv. I don't know where he's going with that.
I think it's a compliment. And
hey, when you're right 52% of the time, you're wrong 48. Okay.
Maybe it's not a compliment. I don't know.
Kick me in the nuts as I'm like 23-6 in my last 3 weeks. You know, I'm like, I can't do anything right. You make the playoffs. We're getting rid of you. Okay, thank you.
All right, you've given us 3 NBA picks. So let's talk a little bit about the Chicago Bulls. What are you making of this team? They've been on kind of a streaky team. They lose 3 or 4 in a row, then they win 3 in a row. Now they're in a 2 or 3 game losing streak. It's just a young team that's learning how to win, according to Billy Donovan. You agree with that?
Yeah. And you know what? The players should sue Jerry Reinsdorf and the Bulls for having people that couldn't develop their games coach them, like Buehrle. But you can't do that. So they're just going to be getting together under Billy Donovan. Right now, they can beat the bad teams. They can't beat the good teams, but you got to start somewhere. So they're better than I thought they were going to be. We just talked about Oklahoma City. They're doing better than, Donovan left them. They're doing better than people thought. And Donovan's come over to the Bulls. I like his direction. I like that he doesn't panic. I like that he's even keeled. So I'm happy with the way that they're playing. I think that defensively, see, this is a game here that you just know they're going to lose. They were +5 the other night. I took Boston. I didn't give it out. I wasn't sure about it. But it was an easy game for me to take because against the good teams, they have some problems.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, like Donovan said, and you agreed with, it's just a young team that doesn't know how to win. But they've also got some questionable players on the roster. Wendell Carter is hurt yet again. It seems like every season he suffers 2 or 3 injuries. What is with this guy from a high draft pick from Duke? Do you think that he's really an NBA caliber player that can be a contributing team player to a winning team?
I like his game sometimes I don't. His inconsistencies, his injuries. I'm not sold on him. I think early in the year he took a lot of threes. They've moved him in. He's coachable. I'm not going to give up on the kid. I think that you got to give him some time. So you know what? Let's see what he does. He does some very good things. I think he's a Bill Cartwright type. Mm-hmm. I think that he's got more offense than Cartwright, but he's got to get better defensively.
Yeah.
And I think that when you look at him, I'm seeing that the Bulls are a young team, and I'm looking at Thaddeus Young. I think he played with the bad boys, didn't he? How are they a young team? I watched him the other night. He's got a cane that's running down the thing. You know what I mean? There's some guys that are, but it's good you have veterans because when they had these young guys before, they didn't have a veteran like Thaddeus Young. Or guys like that. So, I get where they're talking about, but Zach LaVine, he's so offensively good, but he's so turnover prone. Mm-hmm. If the Bulls lose, look at his turnovers. They're usually 5, 6, 7. Look at him. He had 6 the other night, 5 or 6 the other night. You can't turn over the ball individually like that if you're the main guy.
Yeah.
How good would the Bulls have been if Jordan turned the ball over, even though he was great, 6, 7 times a game?
Right.
Those are converted into baskets. You know that most of them, not all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree with Stacey King. I was watching that Celtics broadcast, and late in the game, Stacey says, your core players, those top three players, the Kobe Whites and Zach Levines and Lauri Markkanen, your three core players, they have to be consistently good in every game. What you get from the rest of the guys is gravy, but those three guys have to be consistently good every game, and that's not what they are delivering as of yet right now.
I think they're better this year, and I think Markkanen's come back and done okay. I think that he stretches the defense a little bit. You have to go out and you have to guard him. They've been better since he's been back. When he first got hurt, I think he lost the games that he was in, but that was at the beginning of the season. Let's just wait and see with them. I'm not, the Eastern Conference is a lot easier than the Western Conference. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, we saw the Lakers go in the other night with LeBron and beat Cleveland, and it's the first time LeBron played in Cleveland since 2018. Well, yeah, because there were no fans. Mm-hmm. I always thought he ducked those games before.
Yeah.
I mean, all of a sudden, he's not playing in Cleveland.
Right.
Be a man. Yo, make them hate you. I mean, that's what – I mean, Jordan fed off it. Jordan didn't say, I don't want to play tonight. He played every night. Make them hate you. They didn't hate Jordan. They respected him. People, I think, legitimately don't like LeBron. They don't like him.
I'm with you on that. And what do you think about this whole talk now that NBA teams really don't need a point guard, and the Bulls don't have a legit point guard? Do you think that because of how they have the center playing out in the 3-point area and so forth, that the game has changed? Do you agree that a point guard isn't necessary to win basketball games in the NBA?
Man, if we got Ben Simmons tomorrow, I'd be thrilled. And people want him to hit three. Shut up. Let the guy just play his game. If he's not going to be a 3-point shooter, there's a million other guys that are doing that. Mm-hmm. The guy's just a creator. But I hear they're going after this kid. They might want this LaMelo Ball or I don't even know what the kid's name are. I've had it with the Ball kids. I don't even care.
And the father.
I don't need them. I mean, look at it. I've seen a million point guards as good as these kids. Okay, mm-hmm. Let's knock the nonsense off. Okay, you want me to go in time? Timey Archibald. Okay,
there you go.
They could hand him the ball, and then he'd say, go watch me now. It's just nonsensical. The hype for these kids, just like the hype for Rodgers, it just gets nonsensical. You can't be that good. You'd have more than one win in the Super Bowl. You can't be that good because you know what? People would quit hyping you and start actually putting your stats down, period. Yeah. And then if people want to move him, how good can he be? I never heard the Lakers once say, we got to get rid of Magic Johnson. Never. So you're either great or you're potentially going to be very good. And I don't care about those kids. I don't. They started getting hyped when the old man shot his mouth off. And I don't think the return's been what the old man said it was going to be. Right?
I agree. I totally agree with that. I don't think so either.
No. Ball, 30 points, 16 assists, 5. I don't see that.
Yeah.
I don't see that anywhere. I don't see it anywhere. So I'm so tired of that nonsense too. Who the media likes, okay? Mm-hmm. Foles, LaMelo Ball, Rodgers. They're all losers. I mean, they win the one hit wonder, and that's it. I mean, Foles won the one, and that made us go get them. Okay? The media hype, and the media has been so explicit in the Trubisky thing. They have been so explicit in being against him and trying. And 70% of the Bear fans listen to everything these no-mind guys say on the radio or on a podcast or whatever. They listen to everything they say, and they don't know the history that these guys are mostly wrong all the time.
That's right. Hey, the Bulls right now a plus 710 to make the playoffs. Explain to us what plus 710 means, and would you lay down $1 on a bet like that?
Man, that's telling people that they're not going to make it. If you bet the Bulls, you put $100 down. If they make the playoffs, you make $710. $710. It would be easy for me to put $100 down.
Yeah.
All right?
Right.
Vegas set those odds. So in other words, you're going to win 7 times the money that you put down if they make the playoffs. So to me, if you're thinking contrarian, there's no way they'll make the playoffs. If you're looking at that, it should be like if the Bulls were going to make the playoffs, you'd think it'd be one plus 250, plus 300. But plus 710 on 100. I mean, you could even put down 50. Put down $50 for you guys, because not everybody's got a lot of money to put down. You put down $50 and the Bulls make the playoffs, you're making like $350, $355 on a $50 bet. So you put a $25 bet, you cut the $355 in half. You're making like $175 on a $25 bet. To win one Bulls, you put 25 down, you win like $175.
I like that. Let's do it. All right.
All right. And then when they have 24 wins, and here's another thing. Every night you don't know. The thing that really amazed me this year was going 10-0 in the NBA to start the season off with. They're sitting guys. I'm picking games, and 2 minutes before the game, like the other night, I bet a college game, USC and Stanford. Okay. I got the TV tray out, the sandwich. I'm like Hyman Roth, sitting with the you're right, with the fold out table and everything, the TV tray, saying I love basketball on Tuesday night, Michael. And then all of a sudden, somebody got a fever. The game's called off, just like that.
Yeah, that was awful.
And I think there's some teams they're using COVID to hide. Where they were saying, like last night, a couple of the players, I'm not going to mention names, for the Clippers had out COVID restrictions. But they'll be back tomorrow. What? Instead of saying we're resting now, COVID, they go, Jesus Christ, you better sit out. And the next day he's jamming over his head. I don't get it.
Interesting.
Oh.
While we're
more COVID problems than all the sports combined. And then they go, he won't be able to play tonight. He's got COVID complications. Okay, it's going to be a while. We'll see you later. 2 days later, he's jamming over his head. You know what I mean? He's laughing at him, running down the court. What happened?
Oh, that's hilarious. Wrath of Raider says the White Sox are going all the way, and I just took a quick look at the odds. The White Sox are plus 1,400 to win the World Series. You think that's a good bet to lay 100 down on?
They're looking for a veteran catcher. Who knew that was going to happen?
How about it?
I hope Grandel hits 40 home runs and 100 RBIs, but he's not a 120 game catcher.
Yeah.
He's not. And the pitchers are going to miss McCann. Sorry. They got weaker at catcher. Not stronger. They got weaker. So they got to address, the catching situation, which they wouldn't have had to address had they signed McCann, but he's with the Mets now. That's fine. But if they're playing 60 games again, I love them. But if they're playing 162, I don't know what's going to happen. I do know this. Cleveland's doing their best to make the White Sox look very good in that division. They're getting rid of everybody. Lindor, they're getting rid of this guy, that guy. I heard they let the bathroom attendant go. You're just not getting it done.
Oh, no.
No, you're just not getting it done by gate old Jimmy. The urinals aren't spotless like they used to be. We're going to let you do it, and we're going to get a draft pick. I mean, they're getting rid of everybody. Cleveland had a team. They had Trevor Bauer. They still got some pitching like Bieber and other guys, but they got rid of Lindor. That's like the Cubs. Even the Cubs aren't dumb enough, even in a rebuilding effort, to get rid of Baez.
Yeah.
They got rid of a cat. Listen, let me tell you, folks. Oh, there goes the pet. Let me tell you, folks. Let me got it back. Let me tell you, folks. Lindor is as good, if not better, than Baez, and they let him go. They let him go. He is a stud. Leadoff man, puts wood on the ball, hits the other way, picks everything up. I mean, my God. Just let him go. So the White Sox have gotten better. Minnesota's the only team in our way. If the Sox don't win it this year or don't get into the playoffs, it's a down year. I don't care what Tony La Russa says.
Yeah, I agree.
They need one more pitcher. They need a veteran catcher. And maybe thank God they signed Ingle. They got a defensive player that will be a spot starter. That was a good signing. We'll see what happens. Abreu's got to play 130, 40 games, and let's just hope that everything works out.
Jumping around here a little bit, got Kent Capers asking, what do you think the Bears will do at quarterback? And so we know that you want Mitch back, but do you really think that's going to happen?
Well, no, I mean, I thought that, how can you get rid of Mitch? But then I'm hearing people want to get rid of Stafford and Prescott and other quarterbacks. So it's fair game. I do know this. They're getting rid of those quarterbacks because they signed stupid deals with them, like with Wentz, $32 million. Watson. I heard yesterday somebody rattle off the teams that Watson would go to, the favorites. The Bears weren't mentioned. Wow. The Bears weren't mentioned. Washington, San Francisco, Houston, who knows? There was like 10 teams named. Indianapolis, the New York Jets, the Miami Dolphins. They didn't name the Bears. Now, wait a minute. Let me ask everybody this. Why has anybody of our crack reporters, okay, asked the Bears, do you want Mitch Trubisky back as your quarterback? There's got to be a sweetheart deal that they're not going to ask that question or that they're afraid to. How can you be a reporter and have the season, and unless it was asked, if that was asked, we would have seen it in the paper, right?
Yep.
Trubisky, Nagy wants Trubisky back. Why is everything a mystery? I don't know if they want him back. Do you? I don't know if they want him gone. Do you? I don't think they know what they want.
Exactly. I think that's the key right there, Mike.
You said that to me last week. And I'm with what Ron says here. They should give him a one-year deal because is Nagy going to start? He's on a short leash, Nagy. This is his last year, unless they get to the playoffs. I'm telling you. If they don't take Nagy and they pick up another quarterback and they don't make the playoffs, adios.
Yeah.
I would, maybe I'm stupid, but I've been guessing right a long time with the Bears. It's easy. They're not that bright. If I'm coming back, I am taking Trubisky, and I'm betting on him for my last year. That's what I'm doing.
Kent also adds that Mitch would be crazy to come back because Nagy is the problem, and that's something that we talked about. Yep.
How many good plays did he call for him the first two games since he wanted him out to begin with?
Maybe one.
He just said, I'm going to keep him in the pocket, take away his strengths. We'll get Foles in maybe the fourth or fifth game, maybe earlier. He never dreamt that they were going to keep winning. All right, now we need something. He's got to make a mistake in the third game. If he makes a bad one, we'll pull him, right, guys? Yeah. What a fool.
Yeah.
It was a foolish thing to do this year. And I called it at the beginning. All these Johnny-come-latelys. They should have won 9-10 games. The guys that had the over 8.5 got screwed by Nagy with that 2-5 Foles deal.
Yeah. And I agree with Ron, too, that I think Mitch is going to get some really good offers from other teams, and that's probably going to prevent the Bears from even entertaining the idea of bringing Mitch back unless they offer him a multi-year contract. Because I got a feeling a team like the Patriots will say, come with us, we'll give you a 3-year deal with escalators and bonuses for the amount of snaps and stuff. And he's going to say, yeah, I don't want to play for Nagy anymore. I'm going to go play for Bill Belichick or somebody like that.
What a class act this guy Trubisky's been. He could have been shooting his mouth off in the paper. He could have been like Rodgers. He could have been like Watson. What a class act. We got a class act that's homegrown. He's getting better every year. We derailed him a little bit, but he's back. And we're going to let him go. Are they seeing the Bears, what's happening with quarterbacks around the country that signed big deals? People can't wait to get rid of them. Goff, Stafford. I mean, do the Dallas Cowboys really want Prescott for $30 million? I mean, come on. I mean, it's ridiculous. And Stanford's making $20 million a year for 2 more years. He's got $40 million left on his deal. So why wouldn't you try to get him? Especially since Prescott's got an injury. You don't know when he's going to come back. So it's going to be interesting. But the Bears got every other quarterback wants out. Every other quarterback. And we got a guy that wants in.
Yeah.
Mitch. And yet, who's the happiest guy you've seen on video? Mitch. He got married. I mean, he's getting married to a beautiful lady.
Oh, gorgeous.
Smiling like he's got a 10-year deal. He knows he's in the catbird seat. He knows the Bears screwed up. And why don't we know what the status is of him?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we're going to find out probably around March. That's when he becomes an official free agent, and we'll see if he's going to even entertain coming back to the Bears. The factor, number one, I wonder if he's related to Bill O'Reilly. He says that we are trading up for Trey Lance or Zach Wilson. The problem with that, and both of those quarterbacks appear to be promising young quarterbacks, but the problem with that is you're going to have to trade a lot of assets to move up to a top 5 pick to pick one of these guys. Trey Lance might be a top 10.
I think he's better than both of them. I'm sorry, Trey Lance. I bet college football every week. Maybe I missed the Trey Lance years. Okay. Hey, Mike, I remember guys telling me, hey, Mike, yeah, what games you got? And I said, well, I got this game. I got Notre Dame. Wait a minute. You're not betting Trey Lance? Half the writers in this town didn't know who Trey Lance was a week ago. I still don't know. I thought he was a Cowboy. I thought he was a Cowboy star.
That is hilarious. By the way, Ron says that Mitch showed a lot of class when he talked to the media after he was benched, and he is absolutely correct. I mean, Mitch is a class guy from A to Z.
Mitch or Aaron Rodgers? Just off the top of your head.
Yeah, Mitch or Aaron Rodgers. Who's classier? Mitch Trubisky. There's no doubt.
You imagine when Rodgers was dating, what's her name, the race car driver?
Danica Patrick.
I got one. Well, I got none, but I'm going to win someday. But I got one. They're arguing over one win.
What do you think about that whole thing? Is that the only time he went to the Super Bowl was because he beat the Bears, who had Jay Cutler on the bench, and the quarterback was, I even forgot the name of the guy who was the quarterback for the Bears in that NFC Championship game. Yeah, Caleb 80. So he's never beaten a quality quarterback in an NFC Championship game. What do you think of that?
Jay Cutler, that was the end for me when he didn't come in. And yet he gets a pass in this town like he's a folk hero from the same people that want Mitch out. It's just comical to me. He was allowed to go 1-12 with no heat against the Green Bay Packers. I think maybe longer. Maybe he won another one. I don't know. But his record was horrible. Horrible. And I keep hearing that this guy's got to go. But I never heard Cutler had to go. Mm-hmm. I heard Cutler had to get the extension. And the Bear, that's why everybody that I see that's in the media, when I see you, I don't care who you are. You got to decide as I'm looking at you whether there's an F over your eye like a tattoo that means Foles, or there's a T. And every guy I see has an F, okay, for failure and for Foles, because that will go down in history as Nagy's, I guess, apocalypse. I mean, really, Nagy, if you're going to go by what he did this year, abandoning a kid like that, telling him he's never going to play again, we're moving on. He should never coach this team after what he did. He should. Yeah,
it's a good point. By the way, I got somebody cut together on YouTube every interception Jay Cutler threw against the Packers. And boy,
if Trubisky did that, they'd kill him.
Oh, absolutely.
And then look at all the hustle. Look at all the hustle.
Yeah. Cutler's the only one trying to make it. Right. It looks like.
Because they hated Cutler. Devin Hester's come out and said it. I like this interceptions versus Green Bay. But Devin Hester said he wasn't a leader. He only talked to Brandon Marshall. He never talked to anybody. What a loser this guy was. Look at that play.
Oh, my gosh. He looked right. He looked right and then threw left right to the backer guy.
Can you, I mean, seriously, we gave this guy, the media and the Bears conspired to get more years for this guy and kissed his ass. And he's the worst thing that ever, he set the Bear franchise back 10 years. Look at this. Look at this. Put that on Twitter. I'll send it to my guys.
I will. I mean,
because people forget how bad he really was. He had a great team around him. I'll give you one. Put Mitch with Brandon Marshall. Put Mitch with Greg Olsen. Put Mitch with Matt Forte. Put Mitch with that line. Put Mitch with that defense. That's better than the defense we had this year. And we win.
Yeah.
He would have been better. We would have beaten with that team Green Bay more than once. with Mitch as quarterback, and Cutler couldn't get it done.
Pretty sad stuff. All right, I want to wrap up the show by asking you about the passing of Hank Aaron, memories that you have of hammering Hank. He was truly a special player. Your thoughts on Hank Aaron?
Well, he's the home run king. I mean, for anybody that abhors the steroid era, I saw that even some of the writers, our buddy, I brought him up earlier, Mark Potash, said, here's the home run leaders. And Aaron was number one. You don't even consider Bonds. You can't consider. Then you have Ruth. I mean, in the 60s, you had Stan Musial in right field, Clemente, and Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. And in the other league, you had a guy named Roger Maris who was launching 60 home runs. Right field was a nice place to be back then. I met Hank Aaron more than once. I interviewed Hank Aaron, Dan Jiggets and I. And I used to wait for the players. When I was in 6th, 7th grade, me and my buddies would take the L, and we'd go to the game. We'd watch batting practice, everything else. We'd try to get autographs. They usually was hard. There was a million kids. But then we'd wait for him afterwards. First, we'd go cut down in the 9th inning before the game was over.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd watch him go over the catwalk into the clubhouse. Because you had to go through all sorts of narrow hallways. And then you actually saw the players as you were looking up on a fenced-in catwalk going to the clubhouse. Well, we used to wait for the players at the bus. They had the buses parked on Addison. They'd have 3 buses, okay? And Hank Aaron would come out, or Eddie Matthews, or Dick Grote, or Stan Musial. And sometimes you shook their hands. Sometimes you got an autograph. But I shook Hank Aaron's hand when I was in 6th grade. You see them come out in their suits. They were always dressed impeccably. They were gods to us. They were gods, and they were just working stiffs. Most of them had to work during the offseason. You know, I mean, Joe Torre. I mean, guys like that would come walking out. They were bigger than life to kids, and they were Hank Aaron's a legend. 24 years. I mean, put up with all sorts of guff like a lot of other guys did.
Mm-hmm.
His consistency is mind-boggling. Forget about the amount of – now, we talked about Baines. But see, Baines played a lot of years, but he did not hit the home runs. He did not break records. He did not hit for an average. Aaron hit 305. Hit 305 lifetime.
Amazing.
With Bob Gibson, Sandy Koufax, Juan Marichal, Ray Sadecki. I can name them all. Elroy Face. I'll name every damn top 2 pitchers that were as good as any pitchers today. And the guy hits 305 for 24 years. Great player. I saw them all. We saw them all. I mean, we saw Mays, Clemente, and I keep hearing, Mike Trout's the greatest. Oh, God help us. I seen Mantle. I seen Clemente. I seen Mays. I seen Torre. Great hitters, great fielders. Mike Trout's the greatest. Mike Trout is not the greatest. Ted Williams. I didn't see him. I watched him on TV in 1959. I was a little boy.
Yeah.
Mike Trout's the greatest. No, he's not. I can name you guys that were as good as him that I saw in the 60s. Mm-hmm. Stan Musial. If Mike Trout can put up Stan Musial numbers, 3,500 hits, 3,600 hits, 1,800 at home, 1,800 on the road. That's consistency.
Mm-hmm.
300 lifetime batting average. I mean, he had extra base hits, as many extra base hits as regular hits. It's just unbelievable ball players that we saw back in the 60s and 70s.
All right. I by the way, one last question, then we'll wrap it up. I always, in my mind, I had the debate, Willie Mays or Hank Aaron. Those 2 guys, to me, were the best. And I think Willie Mays would have probably had the home run lead if he was not playing in San Francisco, which was truly a not a hitter's park. That win,
They had the Polo Grounds.
the Polo Grounds too.
It was 460 feet to center.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's a long fly ball. Looks like, he's caught it 40 feet in front of the 460-foot fence. I mean, he played in the worst conditions. Hit 660 home runs. You're right. If that guy plays at Wrigley for his career, or County Stadium like Hank Aaron did, or Atlanta, the launching pad, Willie Mays. I put Mays ahead of Aaron, but they're. If I had to start a team tomorrow,
This is.
I mean, I'm probably putting Aaron in left.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I do this.
Yeah, it's tough.
Because you got I got Aaron DiMaggio and Mays. Nobody's beating us. I'm sorry. DiMaggio played 9 years and he went to the, bing, 56-game hitting streak. I mean, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
But if you start a team and you add Musial, Aaron, you'd probably play Musial in left, Mays in center, and Aaron in right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. It's ridiculous.
I like Mays in center, Aaron in left, and Clemente in right because of that arm. That arm was just a defensive. He stopped so many runs from scoring, and there's that one tremendous play in the World Series where he throws out a guy going to third base. Remember that play?
Do me a favor, because if Stan Musial played in New York,
okay,
he'd be bigger than Mantle was.
Oh,
Look up his stats. Look up his stats. He played in St. Louis. That's what makes Mays so great. Mays did play in New York, but then he goes to the West Coast, which was just getting started in the 60s. It was the new Xanadu, if you will. But if you get Musial's numbers up and compare him to anybody's, he's a top 5 player all time. He carried a franchise for years. And, he never griped. Did you ever hear Stan Musial once go, man, he loved the game. Just great. I mean, I think he had what was his career batting average?
Yeah, I'll call it up here in a second. I'm trying to find an image that looks
the black box here.
Career batting average. Let's see. It is 331 over 22 years. That's
game's over. Game's over. 331. How many doubles?
Doubles, he had 725 and 177 triples, which is unbelievable.
There's nobody. I'm sorry. If you look at him, how many hits on the road? 1,862. How many hits at home? 1,862.
Mm-hmm.
Or something like that. He had equal amount.
Yeah.
The guy was just a hitting machine. You never heard him make a big mistake. Musial misplayed that one. Never heard it. The guy just showed up to play every night. He's one of the greats that nobody talks about because he played in St. Louis.
Yep, that is so true. So true. There's a statue of Musial outside the ballpark, and that's kind of on my bucket list is to go watch a game in St. Louis and take a photo of that statue of Musial. All right, I want to remind people that Mike's 3 picks were he's got the Raptors-Bucks game. He's saying take Toronto, and then he's got the Nets over the Hawks tonight. And the third pick, he's giving us 3 today. Thunder and Suns, take the Thunder.
Yeah. Yeah, what a day today, huh?
Oh, great show.
Another great day. How long we been on? It goes fast, doesn't it?
An hour and 37 minutes.
I love it. I could go all day.
One of these days.
We hit the Cubs. We can wait on them.
Do you remember that Dick Van Dyke episode where Rob Petrie does like a 72 hours or 24 hours on the air? Maybe you and I should do that once where we just go all night one night.
I did that for 4 years for most.
Oh, really?
Cirrhosis, the Mike North marathons, radiothon. On the Score, I did 18 hours for 4 straight years. 4 straight years, 18 hours on the air. At the Score, people remember it. And I had a different guest each hour. I had Dennis Farina 1 hour. I had Bob Probert another hour. And they all came. Rex Grossman back then. I had Eddie Verdoliak. I had politicals come by.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Dahl. I had a different, which kept me going. If a different guest every hour for 18 hours. I did it for 4 years. The 4th year, I was starting to roll. Only I didn't have a paddle. I was starting to get a little tired.
Yeah, I don't think that's anything you and I are going to do now. We're past our
I started
prime.
the show at like 6 a.m. I wouldn't get done till like midnight the next day or something. It was crazy.
That's amazing.
All those guys.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, I want to tell our followers here that we've got tons of Senior Bowl coverage coming up. The rest of the week, we've got Draft on Tap on Thursday. We've got Riverview T-shirts. We've got what do we got?
When I brought up Riverview all the time.
Yeah, we got a special Senior Bowl show on Friday as well, and then on Sunday we're going to review the Senior Bowl game. So we've got tons of coverage regarding Senior Bowl, and we've got so much more programming here on the Bears Ballroom Radio Network and Ballroom Network. Mike, it's say goodbye.
Love everybody. Have a great week. Hope we win with our picks tonight. If we don't, as I always do, whether we win or lose, it's so much fun to put on Twitter. I won! Well, I had a rough night last night. It's a little harder. Had a rough night, and then, oh, by the way, I had a Kool-Aid last night that was good. You try to get off the beaten track. Oh, I went 0-3. See everybody later. And then you try to move on, hope nobody sees it, but everybody sees it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good job,
right. See you next week, Mike.
All right, Gal. Take care. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.